It appears like Donald J. Trump, your president, is pursuing Diddy, and he's making sure there's no way out this time. Following an astounding new development in Diddy's already blazing legal according to reports, Trump is pleading with the judge to punish him severely and throw the book at him. There's such a punishment that might permanently imprison Diddy. According to people familiar with the matter, Trump's action isn't only regarding Diddy's punishment, it's about making a big public statement in light of what just transpired behind closed doors between Diddy and Trump. Additionally, based on what Judge A just informed Diddy and others, it appears like things are already underway. His attorneys will shake you. Additionally, Diddy's attorneys are currently in a panic due to this controversy and their upcoming. It's going to be crazy. Now let's tackle this problem, okay? Donald J. Diddy's already deteriorating legal struggle was recently given a public sledgehammer by Trump, and everyone has been impressed by the manner in which he did it, speaking. Following over to full years of exploding litigation, unsettling accusations, and constant media coverage. According to reports, Trump is now making it very apparent that he is not here to save Diddy. You can put them out of your mind. Trump put an end to that in the most severe manner imaginable, which led to rumors circulating in the streets about a presidential pardon. Not only did he completely reject the notion, but he also made a special effort to inform everyone that any friendship they may have had is long since gone. Let's simply say that the cause for the change is more complex than merely a political position. Trump's subsequent revelations are problematic since they completely rewrite their history and could potentially elucidate the reasons behind his current quest for the harshest punishment possible. And after listening to what he stated, you will see why this might be the last straw for Diddy. However, what really drove Trump over the brink was discovering that Diddy failed to support him during the election last year, not only declining to back him, but purportedly disparaging him in private. Insiders claim that Trump saw that as a personal betrayal, particularly considering their cordial past. Any lingering loyalty between them then totally broke down. Pay attention to his words.
Right.
Would you consider pardoning him?
Well, he was essentially, I guess, sort of half innocent.
Yes.
I don't know what they do. He's still in jail or something, but he was celebrating a victory, but he seems, I guess it wasn't as good as a victory. Probably, I was very friendly with him. I got along with him great. And seemed like a nice guy. I didn't know him well. But when I ran for office, he was very hostile.
He said some not so nice things about you, sir.
Yeah, and it's hard, like you, we're human beings.
Right.
And we don't like to have things cloud our judgment, right? But when you knew someone and you were fine, and then you run for office and he made some terrible statements. So I don't know, it's more difficult. It makes it more, I'm being honest, it makes it more difficult to do.
But more likely a no for Combs, it sounds like.
To be fair, Diddy never really concealed his disapproval of Trump because back in an interview in 2017, he stated unequivocally that, to be honest, we don't really care about Trump because black folks are in a similar predicament. We don't own that then. The tomfoolery that's going on in DC, that's just regular everyday business to black folks. That is not shocking. He didn't stop there, either. Did Charlemagne the God double down and make it very obvious in an interview with him in 2020? Where he stood, stating that removing Trump should be the top goal out of office.
Number one priority is to get Trump out of office. The tribe of people that have the responsibility and really should be scared to death of this man.
Well, that certainly went astray since, in addition to refusing to grant Diddy a presidential pardon, rumors have claimed that Trump has gone one step further and ordered Judge Aaron, the case's presiding judge, to strike Diddy with the maximum possible punishment for the offenses for which he has already been found guilty. To put it in perspective, such charges are serious. However, he was found guilty on 2 counts of breaking the Mann Act, a federal law that forbids transportation for illegal sexual behavior across state lines. Diddy is now facing the prospect of serving the next 20 years in prison. Because each count carries a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison, this is where the twist lies. Legal experts were forecasting a considerably lighter conclusion prior to Trump's involvement, since Diddy has already spent a considerable period of time behind bars and is a first-time offender. Many thought he would go with time served or probation, avoiding additional years behind bars. That forecast, however, may have only been stoked by Trump's apparent calls for the worst penalty imaginable. Let's just say, however, that the president is now allegedly advocating for the maximum sentence. That Diddy is having a lot of problems. His legal team has reportedly been putting forth extra effort to get him a presidential pardon, suggesting that they are aware of this as well. the public isn't exactly on their side. Which is the issue side? Indeed, more than 11,000 people have signed a petition asking Trump to not pardon Diddy. And this is when Diddy's situation becomes even more dire. Judge Aoun seems to be taking Trump's remarks seriously, as his approach to the matter has been notably more stringent. Diddy's attorneys submitted their fifth bail request just a few days ago, and there was genuine hope for the first time in months that he may be freed after serving over a year in prison. But the judge once more rejected Diddy's bail request, dictating that he must stay in jail until his sentence. However, despite Diddy's offer of an incredible $50 million bond backed by Judge Aoun, was unmoved by the situation at his Miami mansion. He reportedly wrote that the court must determine, via unambiguous and compelling evidence, that the defendant is unlikely to escape or endanger the safety of anybody else in the community if liberated, and that Diddy was dangerous as well as a flight risk. In a desperate attempt, Diddy's attorneys have petitioned the judge to either grant him a fresh trial or to overturn the guilty findings they contended in their filing. To the best of our knowledge, Mr. Combs is the only individual ever found guilty of breaking the law for actions similar to this. Unquestionably, he had no business interests and all parties involved were adults. The men decided to go and participate in the activity willingly. The verdict affirms that the ladies were not brought in as aid, exploited, or defenseless. The judge hasn't made a decision yet, though. Additionally, in accordance with two people close to the case, it's highly unlikely he's going to throw it out, especially now that the president is openly urging him to be tough on Diddy. Well, the wild part is that just a few weeks ago, Diddy and his team were riding high, almost cocky, convinced that a presidential pardon was practically in the bag. They pretended that it would not be long before he was set free. Currently, however, the confidence has totally turned into desperation. You know, Diddy has consistently been around politicians. Additionally, President Trump acknowledged that they were formerly pals. But let's not act like this whole presidential pardon report came out of nowhere because Diddy and Trump go away. Back, we're talking long before Bad Boy records, before scandals. Back when Diddy was still Pub Daddy, and both of them were moving in the same flashy, high-profile circles. But if you need proof that we were once tight, I've got it. I'm about to show you a clip where Trump himself says he would always stick up for Diddy no matter what. Take a look at this.
I love Diddy. You know, he's a good friend of mine. He's a good guy. Is he a good guy?
I don't want to answer that question.
Oh, wow. I think he's a good guy. I'm going to stick
He
up.
seems like a decent man to me. I'm going to defend him. That's what actually caused supporters to start ignoring the entire circumstance. During the ongoing trial, President Trump was questioned about Diddy's legal troubles, and he made no effort to silence the topic. Rather, he gave a subtle indication that a pardon would be possible. Yes, everyone, it was true what he said. Check out this footage for yourself.
You mentioned once in 2012 that Diddy was a good friend of yours back then. He has since found himself in some very serious legal trouble.
Yeah, that's true.
Would you ever consider pardoning him?
I haven't seen him. I haven't spoken to him in years. He used to really like me a lot, but I think when I ran for politics, that relationship busted up. I could do other things, and I'm sure he'd like me, and I'm sure other people would like me, but it wouldn't be as good for our country. As we said, our country's doing really well.
38 Well, that there was a gleam of hope was undoubtedly evident. Additionally, there were reports circulating at the time that D's legal staff was putting in extra hours behind the scenes to provide the ass Trump was referring to. We're discussing private meetings, significant financial transactions, and possibly even political contributions. They were allegedly doing everything they could to ensure that the party arrived without any questions. Additionally, according to an insider, the purported pardoning frenzy that took place a few months ago was really a front, and Diddy was always a true aim. However, the insider asserts that the president was aware that granting Diddy a complete pardon would cause the internet to go into complete chaos. Therefore, the plan was to first pardon a few other celebrities to appease the public, then make it appear as though nothing had changed before adding Diddy's name to the mix. And everyone may concur that the timing is strange, isn't it? The president has actually previously granted NBA YoungBoy a pardon for his firearms convictions in the last few months. In addition, reality stars Julie and Todd Chrisley are following their convictions for tax evasion and fraud. Not to mention the general pardon for the January 6th rioters. Indeed, it was a setup. This is where things get crazy, though, because the street war was that this pardon wasn't exactly free. The insider claimed that a shady little deal had been going on behind the scenes. According to reports, the fans offered Diddy a way out by promising to solve his troubles if he turned over information on their key players. Diddy apparently didn't hold back either. According to the insider, he had been naming names And this cooperation with the federal government supposedly involved prominent politicians. Oprah Gale and King Ellen. The real kicker, however, was, right here, according to the insiders, wasn't simply about avoiding charges or cutting off ears. Was a full-fledged presidential pardon what he had been aiming for? Or something far more significant? And how had he intended to obtain it? Apparently, he had gotten his hands on he hadn't hesitated to use it to uncover some incriminating information about Trump himself. Now, look, the streets were claiming that he was legitimate, but we don't know exactly what kind of dirt he was sitting on or whether he had the receipts to support all that snitch dog. Additionally, it was purportedly connected to Epstein's list, a name that shakes Hollywood. Yes, everyone, this is where things really got crazy because earlier this month, Elon Musk essentially outed Trump, saying that belonged to Epstein's notorious list, which has been missing for years. Elon didn't mince words either. Time to drop the really big bomb. He tweeted bluntly, Donald J. The Epstein files include Trump. The true reason they haven't been released to the public is this. Enjoy your day, President Trump. Naturally, though, he erased those hours later. However, the internet never forgets, so come on, everyone. Trump, however, refuted the claims, calling them old news that has long been known for years. They have been discussed. Even Epstein's attorney denied any involvement on my part. The news is outdated. The news is outdated for years and years. People have been discussing this. As you are aware, I was not on good terms with Epstein for almost 18 years prior to his passing. I had no friendship with him. If Diddy had been attempting to blackmail Trump, it obviously backfired. However, the crazy thing was that he could have had a better chance of receiving that pardon if he had simply remained silent. However, given that the judge has allegedly been directed by the president to impose that maximum penalty, let's just say he did appear that he would be incarcerated for a very long period. So he had better get comfortable there. The court is set on the most severe punishment. Diddy's kingdom is collapsing in real time. The pardon dream has died and the walls are swiftly approaching. It blows up dramatically, which was intended to be this tremendous play for independence. And now he faces the fact that he will have to spend the rest of his life in prison, rather than leaving like a free man. This won't go down as another celebrity scandal. If nothing changes, it will become the moment. The tale of Diddy ended up in a jumpsuit from prison.